Good morning. Nice to be together again. Thank you for Ali and some incredible decorations and setting the scene of the room. If we haven't yet met, my name's Joel, and it's just a real delight and a joy to be together. We are kicking off, you might have noticed, our brand new summer theme today, and just want to have a lot of fun with it and do some really practical, some practical stuff with regards to being a follower of Jesus. So absolutely delighted that we can all be together. And just going to have to start out quoting Alice Cooper. Yes, we're going to quote Alice Cooper from a Sunday morning. School's out for the summer, right? So if you're old enough to remember that song, you'll love it. If you're young enough to not even remember, you'll still love the fact that school is out for the summer. And today we're looking at this idea that how do we make each day count? You know, how do we make each day count? And for most people, especially in England, schools did break up just this last week. And in our family, like our youngest just finished junior school. So we now have 4 children in secondary school. So that's kind of a interesting season of our lives. You know, I remember when our firstborn finished junior school. If you're in that position in your lives, you know, it's kind of a really big deal, you know, and it's like, ooh, it's like tears, and it's really a big thing. And then like our 4th-born finished junior school, and it just was kind of like another day, but that's what happens when you know. Yeah. Anyway, so a big stage of life for us as a family. You know, we got all 4 of them in secondary school going on. And maybe you're here this morning and you finished school. Maybe you finished school and you're totally looking forward to the summer. Maybe you finished school because you work in education, so you're also looking forward to the summer. Maybe you're just looking forward to the summer. So wherever you're at this morning, whatever position you're in, it's totally cool to be together. I remember when I was younger, man, when it was summertime, it was just stay outside all day long, ride your bike all day long, explore the woods, climb the trees. I don't know about you, but for me especially, it felt like summer lasted forever. You know, summer just felt like this really long season. It just, I don't know. Of course it wasn't, but it felt like that. Somehow, you know, when you're allowed to stay up later and schedules just change a bit, and I don't know, somehow it's a bit more, it's just different. And yeah, I don't know if you ever have that same feeling or similar feeling at summertime, but that's how it felt for me. And we just thought, well, you know, let's seize the moment of the summer. Let's just make this into a theme. And, you know, there's this phrase that is used really often, and it's called Carpe Diem, right? Now, Carpe Diem is when a fish sends you a message in your inbox. So if you get a Carpe Diem, that's my bad dad joke of the day, of the year. I mean, that's going to go down as one of the best, I think. Yeah, you know, I still haven't got a phone call for my stand-up gigs yet, so I think they might have lost my number. You know, I'm sort of wondering. Yeah, they lost it on purpose, didn't they? I can hear some of you thinking. Anyway, you're like Carpe Diem. Like, what does it mean? You know, so if you know what Carpe Diem means, go ahead, shout it out for me. Put it in the chat. Seize the day. There we go. So seize the day. And I'm just sort of thinking, like, let's look at a few ways that especially our culture tells us to seize the day. You know, we get told this, seize the day. And so I just want to think, okay, so let's dig into that. Let's chew into that and just find out a little bit about what we think it might mean. Now, if you've seen that well-known film, Dead Poets Society, with Robin Williams, 30 years ago it came out, believe it or not. And so there's that scene with Robin Williams, and he takes the group of lads at the boys' school he's teaching in. He takes them downstairs, if you remember, and they're going to read some poetry together, and they're in front of the trophy cabinets. And that's when he starts talking to them about this idea of Carpe Diem, you know, seize the day. And he's talking to these boys about it. And then he says this to them as he paints this picture and he tells the story, and then he gets them all to lean in really closely, and they lean into the trophy cabinets and they look at these old photographs of the boys that had accomplished sporting achievements and educational achievements, and they're leaning in at this trophy cabinet with all these photographs of boys who are now men and some who are now gone, and they lean in and he says, can you hear them whispering to you? Can you hear them speaking to you? And Robin Williams says to the students, he says, make your lives extraordinary. Which is like supposed to be some sort of tonic, right? It's supposed to be the thing to make you feel like, yeah, I'm going to be remarkable. I'm going to be extraordinary in life, right? Sometimes we use this Carpe Diem to sort of be this thing to sort of encourage you to just be incredible. Be like amazing and amazinger. Like you just have to be like incredible and more incredibler. You have to be extraordinary, And I just wonder, like, I understand the sentiment. He's trying to say, like, go out there, go for it, do it, make something, be incredible, and it's sort of like the coach's sports chat before the team goes out and wins, or has to go back out the second half and try to come back from a losing game. It's that sort of like, let's just G each other up. And Carpe Diem is kind of used that way, isn't it, sometimes? It's sort of be this thing to like get you going, and you have to make your life extraordinary. And when I kind of think about it, though, if somebody said to me, make your life extraordinary, I'd sort of feel under a bit of pressure. I mean, just being honest with you. Like, if someone says to you, make your life extraordinary. Come on, make your life extraordinary. You think, exactly. What am I supposed to do? What expectation am I now going to be living under? This Carpe Diem seize the day, make your life extraordinary. I somehow have to be the best of the best. I have to achieve and I have to overachieve. I mean, what would we have to do nowadays to be extraordinary? To be famous, but more famous than the famous people. You'd have to be wealthy, but more wealthy than the wealthy people. Where's the ceiling for extraordinary? You have to be some sort of perfect person in life? You're some sort of, I don't know, just think about it. Like, how do you become extraordinary? Extraordinary. How do you do that? Do you have some sort of, does anyone here have an extraordinary job?
Yes.
Hey! We just kind of have normal, everyday lives. We go through our day doing normal, everyday things. How do we make our normal, everyday things extraordinary? A lot of us have important, decent jobs, but how do you make it extraordinary? It's kind of a strange thing if you really begin to break it down. Or maybe it's sort of like feeling like you're under a constant pressure, an expectation to perform at the highest level all the time. And don't you for a minute let anything slip to see that you are anything less than perfect. Don't for a moment let anybody see that you can't maintain this extraordinariness. You have to keep it up. Don't for a moment let anybody see that you're anything less than perfection embodied. What kind of pressure does that put on people? You have got to achieve the best marks. You have got to achieve the best sales. You've got to achieve what does it mean to really be extraordinary? How do you make your life extraordinary? I don't know. It just puts us under, I think it could put us under a lot of pressure. And maybe you've experienced that yourself. Maybe you had a parent or a teacher or somebody in authority in your life that maybe felt like you had to do more to be something more. And you almost had to live up to some sort of standard of this imaginary extraordinariness. And you don't know how much you have to achieve, how high you have to climb to actually be recognized as extraordinary. When will it ever be good enough? If somebody expects things of you, you ever felt that? It's like no matter what you do, no matter how hard you try, it's never, ever good enough. That's kind of a hard place to live in. And that's one way that I think we interpret Carpe Diem, make your life extraordinary. And then, that was about 30 years ago, as I say, when the film came out. And some of the way that we've adapted it now in popular culture is a bit more like, instead of you have to be extraordinary, it's you have to be productive. Carpe Diem now, seize the day, really is all about you being more efficient and more productive. You must get everything done, you must get it done on time, and you must get it done well. Basically, it's like, get your to-do list. and get your to-do list crossed off. Get it done. How much can you cross off your to-do list today? How much more can you get done? We live in a culture, just think about it we live in a culture where being tired and busy is like the norm. That's the badge of honor. God forbid that you say that you're actually just really chilled and relaxed and you're really just loving life and just enjoying the moment. God forbid that you would ever say that to anybody. If I ask you how you're doing, you need to say you're tired, you're working really hard, you're a bit worn out, you're juggling 77 things today. It was 74 yesterday, but today I've got 77 things on the go. We live in this environment and in this culture where you have to be productive, and you have to be productive 24/7. And we give you apps that you can buy to make your life easier, but they actually make your life busier because you have more ways to monitor the progress of your productivity. It's 24/7. It's 24/7 in our culture. How many of us have thought, we need to get some stuff for tomorrow. I'll go to the shops now because it's 11:30 at night and I can get it done now, which will save me time tomorrow. We do this life where we think the more we cram in, that somehow that we will finally get a break. But the thing is, we hope for that moment we get time off, but the issue is not when you get time off. The issue is how you spend your time on. And so many in our culture, so many of us are living under the threat of breakdown and burnout because you have a constant pressure to be more productive. You've got to get more done. Now, I don't know, try this at home. If you have a to-do list, and the to-do lists in and of themselves are great. They're really helpful if you need to know what you've got to get done. If you're doing a packing list, I'm going to go on holiday, I got to make sure I these certain items. Of course, to-do lists in and of themselves are fine. But let me just tell you this about to-do lists. They are, basically, they're amorous. They breed. Okay? To-do lists don't stop. They keep making more of themselves. If you put 2 to-do lists on a piece of paper and you come back a few days later, there's 70 of them. And you think, what? I left you alone for 2 days and look what you've done. Okay, to-do lists breed, okay? You could put on your list today, wash the dishes. They're going to be there again tomorrow. Just like that. We won't believe it. So to-do lists, you can't live by a to-do list because you'll never, ever cross off all of your to-do list. As soon as you cross off the top, they replace themselves at the bottom because they're, how else do we say it? They're like randy little things, okay? They just go for it and they create more and more jobs. To-do lists breed. It's true. You never thought about it that way, but it's true, isn't it? Because you've got to-do lists that you've never got to the end of. And then what happens is, if we live our life under this idea that this is the way we must seize the day, what happens at the end of the day, we get there and we think, man, I did not seize the day today. I lost the day today. I was so busy. I don't even know what I got done. You ever had that feeling? We do these things where we reach the end of our day and we're frazzled and we've worked incredibly hard and you just think, I don't even know what I've done. It's because we've lost this, how to measure productivity. It's just somehow gone way out of the room. We got to make our lives so much more efficient. That's how this is interpreted. Carpe Diem means make your life efficient. You got to seize every moment and every minute. You have to do something productive with it. God forbid that you would do nothing in a moment. That's just a waste of a moment. You need to do something with that moment. I don't know if you ever felt like you lived that way. It's difficult for us in the West, I think, to even be spontaneous. For example, it's hard sometimes to sort of say, oh yeah, well, let's do this. Let me check my diary. That's what we have to do. We've lost the ability to be spontaneous because we're so scheduled. I'm not griping, I'm just saying let's be aware of what's going on around us and just ask ourselves, is this the way that we really should live? And how many of us have done this? You've messaged somebody and you didn't hear back from them in 10 seconds, so you think, oh my gosh, what's wrong with them? Maybe they've died. It's just well, why haven't they messaged me back? I messaged them 5 minutes ago asking a question. They haven't messaged me back. we put this productivity on every single little moment. And I wonder, is life really supposed to be like that? Is that the best way for us to live? I don't know. Are we supposed to measure our life by how effective we are and how efficient we are and how much we can cross off? Is that how we're supposed to really measure our lives? I don't know. Do you measure your friendships that way? Does it really? It doesn't really work. This is not conducive for relationships. Is that how you measure your friendships? Are they just to-do lists? It doesn't work. And as I said, we're all living in a world where a lot of people are on the verge of breakdown and burnout. So we either live under this huge pressure of seize the day, carpe diem, to be extraordinary. And if we don't do it as be extraordinary, we use it to mean be efficient. But then there's another way that we also interpret this carpe diem. And Nike has got like, just do it. Just do it. Just do it. And the acronym as well, YOLO. So do you know what YOLO means? Some of you do. Does it? You only live once. YOLO, you only live once. You put that in a message, you send it to somebody, come on, YOLO, you only live once. You got to do it now. You got to seize the moment. The intention with this idea is you don't know what your next moment's going to be like. You don't know if you're going to be here or not, so you might as well do it now. Don't worry about anything else. Do it now. Get that bucket list and get it done. Like, do it now. You don't know if you're not going to make it tomorrow. You don't know if you're not going to make it to the end of the week. So do it now. Do what you want. Do what makes you happy. If it feels good for you, then do it. If it's what you want, then have it. Don't worry about having to budget or save or work on whether or not we can really afford this thing. No, I need it because I deserve it, so I'm just going to put it on a credit card or I'm going to get a loan, because I need it because I've had a hard week. I need to feel better about myself. And so what happens is we live in this moment where we're being sold a lie that if you don't do it now, you'll miss it forever. And nobody wants to miss anything, do they? None of us want to miss anything. That's how most salespeople tell you, I've got this limited time offer. How many limited time offers are we sold? It was once in a life, you're never going to get this offer again, mate. I'm just here doing double glazing windows and, it's never, this is the cheapest they've ever been. You're never going to get them this price ever again. People put this expectation on us that you don't want to miss it. And YOLO, you only live once. You deserve it. You should make it happen for you. You need this. You want it. And what happens is that the subtext of that is that you want to make your life enjoyable. Because it's all about the pleasure. You only live once. You want to make your life enjoyable. So you have to make your life extraordinary, make your life efficient, make your life enjoyable. And this isn't really necessarily a new idea. So my son, who was helping me with these notes this week as part of work experience, he was showing me some poems that had been written years ago. And even in these poems that they had to study in school, there's this idea of this instant gratification, you coy maidens. And you can look it up if you want. We're not going to digress to looking at it, but it's not a new idea, but basically this idea that you would put pressure under someone because you want them to make a decision in your favor and to do something. And so I'm going to give you a bit more of a recent example. Again, now we're going to quote another musician today. I don't know if you know the guy Pitbull. Great misogynistic rapper from Florida. But anyway, hey, we got Pitbull's here this morning. A couple years ago, about 8 or 9 years ago, he did a song called, Give Me Everything Tonight. You can sing along with me if you know it. The words go like this: tonight, I want all of you tonight. Give me everything tonight, for we might not have tomorrow. Yeah. And it goes, grab somebody sexy, tell them, hey, give me everything tonight. Give me everything tonight. Yeah, some of you are recognizing the song. Okay, like what a great subtext. Yeah, I'd really like somebody to grab one of my daughters and just say, we don't know if we're going to make it till tomorrow, so you're sexy, give me everything tonight. I mean, think about what this song is saying. Yeah? We got to do it tonight because we might not be around tomorrow. I mean, this guy's been peddling this song for over 10 years. So, I mean, is this really the way that we're supposed to live life? Does Carpe Diem mean you have to do it now? Because if you don't do it now, you'll never get a chance again. You'll miss this moment. You only live once. And is there a better way to seize the moment, to make the most of things? Is there another way that we can actually live life? And the thing is, you might not be a follower of Jesus. You might be a new person who's just exploring faith again, or you might be somebody who's taking a break from church, and for whatever reason, you're starting to dip your toe back in the water. And what we're going to look at now is some incredible good news. Whether you're a follower of Jesus and you have been for a long time, or whether this is your first time with us today, this is great news for everybody. This is good news for all of us. And I just want to share with you, here's the good news. Jesus is for you, and he came to give you life. He said that about himself. He said in John 10:10, he said, I have come to give you life to the full. I've come to give you life to the full. It's pretty good news. And the other good news is that good advice is always good advice. Whether you're a follower of Jesus or not, good advice is good advice. For example, you're told to look before you cross the road. That's pretty good advice, right? You have to admit, that's good advice. Look before you cross the street. I was probably taught that when I was just learning how to walk. It's good advice. And good advice is good advice, no matter what your life experience is. Good advice is good advice. Now, Jesus also gave some good advice. The Bible has some good advice. And if you're not yet a follower of Jesus, here's what I'm going to encourage you to do. Take some good advice and start putting it into practice. Just like whenever you get ready to cross a road, you look before you cross the road because that's good advice and it's sensible. So here's a really easy thing you can start doing. You can actually start trying out some of the things that are found in the Bible. And you can see, hang on a minute, wow, this is good advice. This is helping my life. Because I don't know, maybe you prefer to live life under Carpe Diem where you have to feel under the pressure to be extraordinary, the pressure to be more efficient, or the pressure to make everything more enjoyable. That's a pretty heavy way to live. And I'd like to say that there's another way to begin living life. Instead of Carpe Diem, there's another way that we can make each day count. And here's what it says. It's in this book called Psalms, which is like a book of songs. And in the book of Psalms, it says this. It says, teach us to number our days. But so that we may be more extraordinary, so that we may be more efficient. Teach us to number our days so we may be more enjoyable, make life enjoyable. It says, teach us to number our days so that we may grow in wisdom. So that we may grow in wisdom. Now, if you think about it, growing in wisdom is actually a better way to live. Just think about it just for a moment. You don't even have to be a Christian or a follower of Jesus. Because when you grow in wisdom, if you think about it, growing in wisdom is learning to do the right thing in the right time and in the right way. Wouldn't it be nice if everybody who drove a car drove with wisdom? Fatalities would go down. Right? Just think about it. Wisdom helps you make the right decision in the right time and in the right way. If you run a business, making a decision with wisdom is going to be better in the long run than making a decision as a reaction. If you have an employee or you're an employer, making your decisions through wisdom makes you a better employee, and it makes you a better employer if you've got people that answer to you. It makes you a better friend It makes you a better neighbor. It makes you a better parent or grandparent or aunt or uncle. If you're in a relationship, it makes you a better partner. Learning to have wisdom actually makes you a better person overall. It would help you make better financial decisions. You know, how many of us have made stupid financial decisions and then been like, well, I didn't really need that in my life. I wish I'd have known before I did that. Growing in wisdom is actually a better way to live life. Growing in wisdom. It helps you do the right things. Wisdom helps me learn to reconcile relationships. Wisdom helps us heal wounds. Wisdom helps us become better friends. Wisdom also helps me to enjoy life more fully, because with wisdom I know that life isn't just about the moment. It's not necessarily always about immediate pleasure. Wisdom helps bring perspective to life. Wisdom helps me say the right thing to the person who's struggling or hurting or aching or going through a tough time. Wisdom helps me. So how can I grow in wisdom? Well, you can grow in wisdom when we start to number our days. How do we count our days? I don't know. I actually looked it up. You can go to this thing called thecalculator.site.com and you can type in your date of birth and everything, and it'll tell you. I just want you to know how many days old I am. I am 17,155 days old as of this moment. So thank you very much for my 17,155th birthday card. I really appreciate that for all of you who gave me my card this morning. If you forgot, that's okay. Tomorrow is my 17,156th birthday. So that's okay. I'll let you off the hook. So I am 17,155 days old. If you want to find it out, go to thecalculator.site.com. Type your details in. You can figure out how old you are. And I don't know, maybe this is just one way that we can number our days. So I was just kind of playing around with it for a bit. And in the UK, the average life expectancy for a man is 79.3 years, or 28,854 days. And if you're a female, you can last longer than us. You always knew you were the superior sex, didn't you? That just proves it. Females, you last for 83.1 years, 30,315 days on average. Give or take. That's what you've got. So I've got 11,699 days left. Maybe. Yeah, God willing. You might make it longer. You might not. It's a reality. I don't want to depress you, but some of us might make it longer, some of us might not. That's just life. Now, some of us might have been counting days in another way. So, for example, maybe a couple weeks ago, you were counting how many days you had left in school if you've just finished school. You're counting how many days you had left. Maybe you're changing jobs. My wife has just recently changed her job. She finished on Friday, and she was counting down the days. How many days do I have left in my current job? Maybe you've been counting those kind of things down. Maybe you count down things like how many days you have left till you go on a holiday. 21, not that I'm counting. Anyway. We do count things. We do count days. But I wonder if we think about it like this, how many more days will my friends be around? How many more days till that crying toddler or baby who wakes me up in the night? How many more days before they start school? How many more days till that child finishes junior school? How many more days will my parents still be alive for? How many more days till somebody comes along and wants to marry one of my daughters? How many more days before? Let me just say, how many days have I got left? They've got 11,000. There you go. How many days until my son goes to university? So I said Evan was helping me with these notes. We did it as a bit of a work experience thing, and so we're talking about how do you make the most of your days, and we worked it out. So if he goes to university next September, just as a practical example, if he goes to September next year, we picked a date, 21st of September, and we calculated out that if he goes on that date, and from today, we worked out the number of days that was going to be, and that is 424 days away. And the thing is, when you begin to count each day, You can make each day count. It's not about trying to be more extraordinary. It's not trying to be more efficient. It's not trying to make everything more enjoyable for my own immediate pleasure. It's actually learning that when I count my days, I begin to grow in wisdom. And when I begin to count each day, I can make each day count. And when you begin to count each day, you can begin to make each day count. Because now I have to think about, what will I do in those 424 days that I have left? And maybe you don't have a child in this stage, and of course this is just my experience and my illustration. I appreciate that. But doesn't knowing that change my perspective on the time that we have left? How do I want to use those remaining days? How do I want to make the most of those remaining days? Because when I think about it, it wasn't that long ago when he entered my life as an infant, and now he's leaving as a man. And it goes like that. It goes so quickly. So quickly. And some of you have already experienced it. You're further down the road in this than I am. But what a gift to be part of someone's journey. What a gift to be able to share life. What a gift. You've been given the gift. You don't even have to be a follower of Jesus to know that you've been given the gift of life, because Jesus said, I came to give you life and life to the full. Wow, you've got life that you've been able to live. You've got life that you've been able to experience, and you don't even recognize or acknowledge that it might have even come from God that gave you this life, because he just gave it to you. He just gave you this gift of life that you can know people and meet people. Think about it. And then in my experience, this journey, this gift that I've been given with this young baby, now a young man, brought out my worst flaws. You know what? It brought out the biggest junk in my life, but it also brought out things that I never knew were there. The greatest, most heroic moments that I had no idea were there either. You see, this experience, this journey brings things out. And some of the days were spent in tears, and some of the days are spent in laughter, and you know that's how life really works. Some of the days are spent just overcome with grief, and other days are spent in ecstatic celebration. And if you've been alive long enough, you know that that's the way life works. And I get to always be his father. That'll never change, of course. But there's coming a time when he will go out on his own. Maybe sooner rather than later. He gets to stretch his own wings, make his own mistakes, have his own successes, and become all that God has called him to be. And that's a journey for every one of us who are parents, or every one of us who are in a relationship, every one of us who love someone, want to see somebody grow in life. And I discover that when I begin to count each day, I can make each day count. And instead of putting pressure on someone else to be more extraordinary, putting pressure on someone else to be more efficient, or trying to make every moment of their life so enjoyable, maybe I'm totally missing the point of what it means to number our days. Think about it. Would you really have preferred somebody to put so much pressure on you to make you more extraordinary, to make you more efficient, or to make it all about immediate pleasure? If you were raised in an environment where you weren't allowed to fall over and cry and skin your knee and realize that life is a bit rough sometimes, you're going to have a rude awakening when life hits you in the face. If we think about our own experiences, we would not have lived in a way that we're driven by trying to be more extraordinary, more efficient, or just having everything supposed to be enjoyable. Because there's another way to live, and the Bible tells us there's another way to live. It says, teach us to number our days so that we can grow in wisdom. And I'd like all of us to grow in wisdom. Wouldn't you? Growing in wisdom is the best way to grow, because we each get the gift of time, We each get 24 hours a day. You could be young or old, male or female, rich or poor, educated, uneducated. It doesn't matter who you are, where you've been in life, what you've got going on in life. We each get 24 hours a day. Time is the great leveler. You each get 24 hours a day. We all get the same gift of time. We all get the same gift of time. And wisdom teaches me that I don't need to try to put myself under pressure and make that time and make myself more extraordinary. Wisdom teaches me that my gift of time doesn't mean to be crammed full of efficiency. And wisdom teaches me that I don't need to cram that time full of immediate, in-the-moment pleasure. Because wisdom also teaches us that today might not be the way I want it to be. Wisdom teaches you that. Wisdom teaches you that I might be struggling in this moment. I might be having a rough patch. I might be having a difficult season. Wisdom teaches you that. Because wisdom reminds you that there will be a sunrise at some point in the middle of your darkness. There will be a light at the end of the tunnel. Wisdom teaches you that we grow and we change and we all are given seasons in life, and this will not last forever. And whatever you're experiencing right now, you might feel overwhelmed. You might feel you can't even imagine a way forward. I want you to know that wisdom will help you and teach you that this will pass. You will get through this. I don't know what you're facing right now, but you will get through this. It will not last forever. Because seasons don't last forever. Seasons come and seasons go. That's the rhythm that we've been given by our good God. And it helps remind us that things change. And things move on. And you will get through this. And we'd love to help you, support you. If you feel like you're experiencing something, you're in a season of something, wouldn't it be nice to have some people around you who have some wisdom, who can encourage you and support you and help carry you through whatever you're experiencing? Because wisdom does that for us. When we number our days, we begin to grow in wisdom. And the other thing is, when we start to grow in wisdom, we can all stop being victims of life. Instead of being overrun by your circumstances and situations, you can put it into perspective because you will know that this moment will pass. I can make it through. I can make a decision. When you begin to count each day, you can also learn to stop putting things off. If I have 11,000 days left, I am nearly 2/3 of the way through my days. How am I going to fill the remaining third? I don't need to feel under pressure to make it extraordinary. I don't need to feel under pressure to make it efficient. I don't have to feel under pressure to just do it from a personal pleasure point of view. But when I realize I'm not going to be around forever, I might think, what do I want to do with these days? Wisdom helps me know that I can stop putting some things off and just start doing some things. And each of us will one day, like it or not, die. Welcome to church. You're going to die. Wisdom reminds us that one day we will all die. We don't talk about it much. We don't like to talk about death, do we? We're not. The West is not a very death-pro culture. But death will happen to us all. We know that. We just don't like to talk about it. The death will happen to us all. Sometimes it's shocking and unexpected, and other times we knew it was coming because they've been ill for a number of years. And as we get older, we get slower, and our eyesight goes, and our bodies become a little bit less mobile and flexible. It just happens, okay? I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen, y'all. And therefore, I want to encourage us to not waste our time wanting more days, but rather invest our time in enjoying each day. I'm not going to strive to want more days. Let's enjoy the days we have, because when I count each day, I can make each day count. I want to grow in wisdom. Following Jesus will help you grow in wisdom. Following Jesus will help make your life better. And no matter what stage of faith you are at, whether you're just exploring and just dipping your feet in the water, or whether you've been a follower of Jesus for years and years and years, following Jesus will make your life better. Teach us to number our days so that we may grow in wisdom. So as we wrap it up and close, just take a moment to consider yourself. Have you been living life in a different way? Have you interpreted Carpe Diem as something to pressurize you to be more extraordinary or more efficient, or making you feel like you're going to miss out on any moments? How have you been interpreting that? And what are you going to now do differently? And as we pray, I'm just going to pray for us all now. Jesus, I just thank you so much for your wisdom and just your practical, helpful advice. Thank you that we can learn to live life in a totally different way. I just thank you for every person here. I think you would help us all to number our days. Thank you that you don't put us under pressure to perform and be more extraordinary. You don't put us under pressure to try to make us more efficient. And you also don't put us under pressure making us feel like we miss out if we haven't somehow enjoyed the moment. Thank you for all that you're doing in our lives. In your name we pray. Amen. As we go, here's the simple challenge. Begin to count each day, and therefore make each day count. Awesome. Thanks for joining us. We are going to carry on this series next week. Got some more fun summary stuff planned, so look forward to having you. If you've got little ones, you're amazing kiddos, collect them from 12, please. But for now, enjoy. Grab another drink, hang out with one another, say hello. Thank you very much.